Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, I would like to request that you please subscribe to my channel if you're interested in more videos like this one where I explain how to apply for a visa from within the United States. So in this video, I'll be talking about how to apply for a Singapore visa from within the United States. So if you already hold a US passport, then you don't need to apply for a Singapore visa. But if you're an Indian like me, living in the United States, then the process is different from how you would apply if you were living in India. So in this video, I will go over three things. One, how do you fill out form 14A? Two, what documents do you need to apply for a Singapore visa from within the United States? And then three, how do you actually submit your application? So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into how do you fill out form 14A. So once you have form 14A pulled up, let's go ahead and get started. So for your name, you just put your full name. For example, if my name was Priyanka Chopra, I would just go ahead and put that. Then you put your date of birth, like this. So your date, your month, your year, you put your gender, marital status, and then nationality or citizenship. I'm not a Singapore citizen, and I'm also not a Singapore permanent resident, so I would say other, and then I would put what I am, which is Indian. And then you put your place of birth, India, your state or province of birth. You can put Maharashtra, for example. Race could be Indian. And then the nationality, citizenship would also be Indian again. Type of travel would be international passport. The whole reason you're applying for a visa is because you don't have a Singapore passport. So yeah, your travel number, so like, you know, whatever your number is that it says on your passport. Same thing here, whatever it says on your passport for the month and year. So like, this is obviously wrong because it's saying that it's issued in 2025. Yours would probably be issued before that and then would probably expire like sometime afterwards. Just check your passport for that. Country, place of issue, same thing. This is probably wherever you were born, wherever you're a citizen of. And if you're a Chinese national, then you know whatever this number is, add that in. Country, place of origin. So here, for example, this would be the place that is your like permanent address in your country of origin. So for example, even though I live in the United States, I'm from India. This does not have to be like the place you were born or whatever, but this is like whatever your permanent address is in India, that's what you would put. So even if like, for example, previously I said that I was born in Maharashtra, but if my permanent residence is not in Maharashtra, then here I would put whatever place my permanent address is in. For example, I could, if my permanent address was in Madhya Pradesh or something, I could put it there. The prefecture of origin or residence would be just like the city within the state of wherever it is. And then here you just put your address. So like, I'm just coming up with like, I don't know. Yeah, 123 Street is my example address, but like that's what you would put here. So yeah, like this is the city, I mean this is the state, this is the city. If you have a county, you can put the county, but this is basically your permanent residence in the place that you're from, which in my case is India. And then now for part 2, you go ahead and input your email address, your contact number, and your occupation. So for example, for email address, I would do something like this. If my name was priyankachopra@gmail.com. Contact number, you know, put whatever your phone number is. be sure to actually put, like, if your phone number is from the United States, put +1. So be sure to put like the plus area code of like your country for where it's from, like that. And then for your occupation, you can put whatever your job is. If you are a student, then you can go ahead and put student here, for example, but you would just put whatever your job is, or like whatever you do. So like, for example, like if I was a lawyer, I would put lawyer. Since Priyanka Chopra is an actor, she would put actor. And then put in the highest academical education that you've received. Primary is like elementary school, secondary is like high school, I guess, and then university, postgraduate, whatever. Your annual income for this, take whatever your annual income is and get it in Singapore dollars. You can easily Google this and be like, if my annual income as an actor is like $100,000 or something, I can easily do 100K USD to SGD and figure out whatever that is. But in this example, I'm just gonna pretend that my annual income is 100K Singaporean dollars. For religion, you can put whatever religion you are, or if you have no religion, you can just put no religion. Expected date of arrival in Singapore, this is based on whenever your trip is. So right now when I'm posting this video, it's January of 2025. Let's say I wanted to go in February. So I would put, I just realized it's days. Let's say I'm going from February 15th of 2025. And then for your type of visit, okay, for this, you could put single, double, triple journey, whatever. This will restrict you for how many times you can actually enter Singapore. So for example, if you want to go to Singapore and then after Singapore, you want to like travel around the nearby countries and like jump to Malaysia, for example, and then go back to Singapore, like this will restrict you, and you'll have to know exactly what your plan is. Like you'll have to know that, oh, I'm gonna go to Malaysia and come back, so I'm gonna need like double entry for this. So just to be on the safe side, I would just do multiple journey. That way if your plans change and you have to like come and go through Singapore multiple times, you're able to, because you accounted for that in your visa. For your purpose of visit, social, we're applying for a tourist visa. Details of the purpose is tourism. How long do you intend to stay in Singapore? Less than 30 days. If you're staying more than 30 days, you have to give a reason. So like, don't do that. Just go for 30 days. Next page. So next it says, where will you be staying in Singapore? If you have a friend's place, you can put the friend's place and their address, but most likely it's gonna be a hotel. Here, I'm just gonna use like the most basic hotel that I found, which is the Grand Hyatt Singapore. So, for example, if you are staying at the Grand Hyatt Singapore, they're gonna ask you for the address for that, and then also for you to put in the actual building name, and then the postal code as well for this one is that. And for contact number, just put in whatever number you find on Google. As long, like it'll probably start with +65, because that's like the area code there, and then yeah, continue onwards. Then it will ask you, did you reside in any other countries or places other than your country or place of origin for a year or more during the last 5 years? For this, you have to say yes, because like I'm Indian, but I'm living in the United States. My country of origin is India, and so for me, for example, I would put like USA, and then I would put like 123 like street road. I mean, I'm obviously making up this address, but put the right address for wherever you live. So like New York, and then like the zip code of like, I don't know, 93448. This is a made up zip code, but put like the address of where you've been living, and then you gotta say from when to when have you been living. So for example, if you recently moved to the US like literally exactly a year ago, then you would be like, oh, from January 2024 to January 2025, I've been living in a country other than my place of origin. All right. If you have multiple addresses though that you've been living, like for example, maybe I lived at this address last year, but the year before I was still in the US and I just lived in a different address. I lived in like 456 Street Road or something. And like, I don't even know, like something like that. Then you gotta put like, okay, but the previous year I actually lived at this other address. So if you moved around a lot in the last 5 years in a country other than their place of origin, you have to list down all of those addresses in this box. And I would just do it in like reverse chronological order. All right, if you have a traveling companion, if you are traveling with someone that is 12 years or less, then fill this out. And yeah, this is pretty self-explanatory as well. Okay, next is the particulars of the local contact. So here, if you don't have a friend that you're staying with and it's the hotel, then you just put in the same hotel information again. So we were going with Grand Hyatt Singapore, put that in. The relationship is that this is a hotel. Put in the same exact contact number that you put up there for this place, and then for the email address, just put whatever the email address of the hotel is. So like Grand Hyatt at Singapore.com. I made up this email address, by the way. If you're actually staying at the Grand Hyatt, go and look for their actual email address. Okay, next. Part 4, antecedent of applicant. Have you ever been refused entry into or deported from any country, place, including Singapore? Obviously, answer these questions truthfully. Don't lie, but yeah, hopefully the answer is no. Have you ever been convicted in court of law in any country, including Singapore? Have you ever been prohibited from entering Singapore? Have you ever been entered Singapore using a different passport or name? So for this fourth one, if you have entered using a different passport or a name, then you have to give details here. Actually, for all three of these, you have to give the details here. So for example, if you've been prohibited from entering Singapore, then you would have to say why. Like, I was prohibited because da-da-da. Or if you have entered Singapore using a different passport or name, then you have to say that as well. Like, for example, let's say for example that you're married and before your marriage, your name was something else. So Priyanka Chopra, let's say, her name is actually Priyanka Chopra Jonas now, right? So in her application, now I'm scrolling up a lot. In her application, she would write Priyanka Chopra Jonas. And here, if she has visited Singapore before under the name Priyanka Chopra, she would say, I got married recently and changed my name to Priyanka Chopra Jonas. Previously, I was named Priyanka Chopra. Oh, okay, I don't know why this is like shrinking this down. I don't want that. I want it to be big. So previously I was named Priyanka Chopra and I visited Singapore with a different passport that used that name. The passport number was V1234566. Okay, so this is an example of the details that you will say. And if you don't have your passport from before, don't remember the passport number. Oh, that's the other thing actually. You would also say like, I visited in 2012 and put the date for when you visited as well. Now, if you don't remember, you don't have the passport or anything, then you can just say that. You can just say that like, oh, I did enter, like for example, maybe you entered a long time ago. You can say like, I entered Singapore 50 years ago, but I no longer have my passport or number and it was under this name, whatever. Just disclose the information. Okay, now finally we are at the final part of the form where you just have to sign your name and add the date. Print out this paper and actually like sign your name. So like here, Priyanka Chopra. Like, don't just type this, print it out and sign your name here, and then write your date here as well, like in your handwriting, in addition to writing the signature in your handwriting. So once this is done, you can go ahead and print this form and you will be good to go. I just want to highlight this one spot here where it says affix a recent passport size photograph here. So as part of your application, you do need to have a passport size, like passport photograph. And when you print this out, that's where you're going to put that photo. So yeah, that's how you fill out Form 14A. Next, I'm going to go ahead and talk about what documents you need for your application. All right, so what documents do you need for your Singapore tourist visa? First, you need Form 14A, which is what we just completed. In addition to that, you need to get a passport-sized photo. You can look on their website for like the exact requirements, but it's pretty much the same wherever you go. So just go to like UPS or like Walgreens or something and get a passport-sized photo, get it printed out, because that's what you're going to be physically attaching to your Form 14A. Once you have that, print out a copy of your air ticket and hotel reservation. This is because they want to check and make sure that the dates that you say that you're going to be there align with what you wrote in your form, and same thing for your hotel accommodations. In addition to that, you also want to print out a copy of your proof of entry for the USA if you're returning back to the USA after going to Singapore. If you're going somewhere else, then you're going to need like your visa or proof of entry for your next destination. They just want to make sure that you have like the documentation to go wherever you're going to go after Singapore. So for the US, if you're here on a visa, you would print out like a copy of your visa, or if you have like a green card, you print out a copy of the green card. Then, in addition to that, they also want your daytime contact number and email address. So that's literally for that, you just get a piece of paper, like a normal printer paper, and write down your phone number on it and your email address. So you can just put phone number or like daytime contact number 1 2 3 4 5 6, whatever your number is, and then like email address, and then write down whatever your email address is, and maybe write down just like your name on top too, like name Priyanka Chopra. Then you need to get either a money order or a cashier's check for $23, because that is the cost of the application. So a money order you can literally get at Walmart, and it's like super easy to get. So just get that there, and you're going to attach that to your application as well. And there is actually one more document you need to include in addition to these, which is a copy of your passport bio data page. So please be sure to include that as well. The way that I recommend ordering it is first have your Form 14A with the passport photo affixed in the right corner, and then after that have your passport bio data page. These are all of the documentations that you need. If you have any doubts, or you want to just like confirm that you're doing everything right, or have any question about what form, like what to fill out in the form, or just want to make sure that you didn't forget one of the documents that you need, you can call the application folks on this number that I am showing on the screen right now down below, and they will be more than happy to help out, because they're the ones that like review your application. So yeah, these are all the documents you need, and once you have all of them printed out, you can go ahead and submit them. This brings us to our third part of this video, which is how do you actually submit an application. So in a lot of different places, you have to like go through an agent, or you can submit the application online. But for us, since we are submitting from within the United States, honestly, the easiest way to submit would be to just mail the application in to the mailing address. So this application you can send to this address, which I'm showing on the screen right now, which is for Washington, D.C. So put all of these documents together, put the money order at the very top, and then after the money order, go ahead and put your Form 14A next, and then your daytime contact number, email address, and then everything else after that. And like either paper clip them together or use like one of those black pins that I can't remember the name of right now and put that together, like that whole stack of papers paper clipped together, put them in like a big envelope, and you can just go ahead and mail it straight to the address. Depending on how soon your trip is coming up, you might want to mail it so that it gets there within like the next 2 to 3 days, because I think it typically does take like 1 week to process. And if you haven't heard back in a week, then you can just call that same phone number that I had shown earlier to check in on like the status of your application. But yeah, once you printed everything out, you can mail it in, and it's a super easy way to submit your application for the Singapore visa. So that is all about how to apply for Singapore visa as a non-US citizen from within the US. I hope that this video helped you out, and I will see you in the next one. If this video helped you out, please remember to like, share, and subscribe this video. I would greatly appreciate it. Bye!